Matthew 4:4 declares, "And man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God." Welcome to Meat from the Master's Table with God's mouthpiece, Dr. Patricia Frye. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a profound, prolific, prophetic word from
Just for a moment, I want to talk to you from a subject. Are you positioned for the shift? Because God is about to move. I need to ask you that question again. Are you positioned for the shift? Because God is about to move. And when God begins to move, it will be too late to position yourself. It will be too late to get ready. But here we find, because of the unbelief of the children of Israel, the Bible said that they were sentenced to wander in the wilderness for 40 years. Those years have now expired, and the children of Israel is ready to enter a land called Canaan. They are ready to claim their inheritance in this land. We must understand, beloved, that God has a promise designed just for you. God has a scheduled time, a set time, a mandate time, an ordained time to bless you, but will you be in position? However, but before they can enter Canaan, they must first pass one final test. There was something in between them and their blessing. There was something in between them and their miracle. And this something was called the Jordan River. You must understand, before you get to your place of promise, before you get to your final destination, there's going to be some things in the middle of you and your promise. But here the children of Israel, they're faced with a river called Jordan. Normally this would not have been present, but much of the problem, glory to God, since the Jordan was only 100 feet wide at Gilgal, where they crossed. However, it seemed that God always does things in such a way that no man will be able to boast and no man will be able to take the glory. So God will allow obstacles to get in the way of us in our miracle. But we must understand this crossing will be no exception. We must see, glory to God, God brought them to the Jordan River at the time of an harvest. Usually, you can just cross this Jordan and there's no problem, there's no hindrance, there's no delay, but something unusual is taking place right about now. You know, you're in a place where you can smell your miracle. You're in a place where you can feel your miracle. But when is my miracle going to actually arrive? Why in the world has God placed this obstacle in front of me and my blessing? Those who have been there during the harvest time tells us that the Jordan swells and is impassable, wide over 1 mile. It was over 50 times wider than the normal. They would have been, glory to God, been when the children of Israel would have arrived. There was no way they could cross this river on their own. There's no way you can get out of the situation that you're in on your own. There's no way you can get this blessing on your own. You're going to have to depend on the supernatural ability of a supernatural God. My sisters and my brothers, we have Jordans that we face from time to time. Glory to God, when we look at the obstacles that stands between us and our spiritual victory in our own Canaan, we may feel that we will never be able to enter the promised land. But there is a word from the Lord. And the word is, will you position yourself? Will you be in the place where when God brings your blessing to the bank of the river to where you can reach out and grab it? I'm afraid to say many of us, we're going to miss when God began to move. But this, glory to God, it involved a challenge. When it came time for the people to move forward, to cross the Jordan, God had a message that they needed to hear. They were challenged to do three very important things. These things were designed to help them follow the Lord better. These are the same things that we need to hear this evening that would help us follow the Lord a whole lot better in our life. One of the things that the Lord began to tell them, the Bible says that he says, watch God. Notice what the Bible says, that the Ark of the Covenant is mentioned 7 times in this chapter. The ark, you may remember, was a special piece of the tabernacle furniture that symbolizes the presence and the power of God. When the ark was in the holies of holies, the glory of God rested upon it, and it was the dwelling place of God. To Israel, it represents God's very essence, God's very presence in the midst of his people. In other words, when God moved, they were to move. They couldn't move until the presence of God moved. They couldn't move till the Shekinah, the glory of God moved. It's a sad thing, glory to God. We've been moving by another unction. We've been moving by another spirit, but the Bible said that Joshua spoke to the children of Israel, and he said, when God moves, you get ready to move. Well, I don't know about you, but it's been 40 years. The children of Israel declared that it's been too long and we can't miss another visitation from God. We've been wandering around this same old wilderness long enough. In other words, when God moved, they were to move. But they had to be in position. They had to be watchful. But we must understand, during this dispensation, glory to God, this Ark of the Covenant was something that they can naturally see. Glory to God. Oh, but in our dispensation, in our era, we must have discernment of spirit and know when God is moving, we got to move. He says that when God moved, the children of Israel were to move. And when God stopped, they were to do the same. He tells them to follow God. When they saw the Ark of the Covenant move, they were to leave their place and go after it. Help me, God. They weren't going after the priest that was carrying it. But they was going after the presence of God. Because the presence of God was going to direct them into their blessing. But watch this now. Don't get it twisted. They had to have some men carrying it. Woo! I said something there. Glory to God. The box, come on here, or the chest of the Ark of the Covenant wouldn't have moved if there was no people. In our time, we don't want to.
Join us every Tuesday for Meat from the Master's Table, 1 hour of profound, prolific, prophetic teaching from the Lord. Do it right from the comfort of your home, from your phone. Just dial in the number that you see going across your screen on today, enter in the access code, and you're in to a word from the Lord. Let's tune back in to today's message at the table.
We don't want to expect those in authority that's carrying the glory. But they could move until the glory moved. Help us, God. Not only were they to watch God, they were to move when he did. They were to pursue God. It isn't enough to know what God is doing. There comes a time when you must go after God. This may require us to leave our comfort zone. This may require us to leave our place of familiarity. But here Israel was about to follow the ark through a river that was over 1 mile wide. That couldn't have been easy, but it was still necessary. It was still the right thing to do, because they were following the presence of God. Following God may not be the easiest thing that you will ever have to do in this life, but it will be the best thing that you will ever do. If you ever expect to get past your obstacles and enter into your Canaan or your promised land, follow God. Not only were they told to follow God, but they were told to honor God. Notice that the Israelites were told to stay at least 3,000 feet behind the ark. This was so that they could easily see what was happening ahead of them. Another reason is that the Lord wanted no one but the Levites near this ark of the covenant. Because if you got too close to this ark, if you got too close to the presence of God, and your life wasn't lined up, then death would come your way. So they were instructed, when you see the ark move, we need you to follow the presence of God. But when you follow God, don't get too close upon it. Because I know, Israelites, that you are unclean people. I know you're a rebellious nation. I know you're stubborn and you're stiff-necked, so stay behind 3,000 feet. We must never be guilty of treating God like he is one of our buddies. There must always be a holy reverence and a fear of the Lord up in our hearts. Next, it involves a command. Next, the people were told to sanctify yourselves. This refers to being sure that they was as clean and holy as possible. They were to put away anything that was displeasing to the Lord. Now here God comes and, glory to God, he tells them, watch. You move when this ark of the covenant moves. And when the ark of the covenant stops, you stop. But hold up. You can't follow the presence no any kind of way. See, our excuse is God know my heart. But he told him, he said, sanctify yourself. And it's a sad indictment on the church because we don't preach sanctification no more. They want to examine themselves and get ready for the Lord to do something great for them. There's a shifting that's taking place. There's a shaking that's going on. But will you be in position when God gets ready to move? If you and I ever expect to pass the Jordans that arise in our lives, we're going to have to learn that one of the first things we must do is examine our lives to make sure they are as clean as possible. What I love about Paul when he wrote to the church at Corinth, he said, I need you to do something. I need you to judge. I need you to examine yourself. Glory to God, that nobody else needs to examine you. So if we examine us, God won't need a priest to examine us. He says it involves not only a command, but a commitment. This message to the Israelites remind them that getting across the Jordan did not rest upon their own shoulders, but it rests upon the shoulders of the Lord. If you're going to ever get what God has for you, if you're going to ever reach the place that God is trying to bring you to, you're going to have to stop trusting in your own strength. You're going to have to stop trusting in your own ability. But you're going to have to trust a sovereign God and him alone. It was his plan to get them over, and it was his problem. In these verses, he makes them a promise and tells them that he will bring them through in a powerful fashion. God here commits himself to bring his people across the Jordan. All that was required of Israel was to trust God. He said the only thing that's required of you today is to trust the Lord. The reason we're still stuck is because we don't have trust. Glory to God. May I remind you that things have not changed one bit. If God could be trusted in those days to keep his promises, then he's the same God that can be trusted today. Often we are unable to get past our obstacles in our lives because we live a life that is exhibiting a deep lack of faith in the promises of God. How do you know that? Because of the worry and the doubt that we walk around with. You may not complain with your mouth, but you're complaining in your heart. But the Bible declares, he that cometh to God must believe that he is. That he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. We worry over tomorrow. Yet the Lord tells us not to worry over it. We worry over material things. Yet the Lord has promised. We worry about facing various things in life. Yet the Lord has promised. We worry over so many things. Yet the Lord tells us all about our worry. He tells us that worry is sin. And that our duty is to trust him. The bottom line is this, my sister and my brother. Jesus is all powerful. He is all knowing and he's all present. He knows what he is doing. He knows exactly what we're going to go through. He knows everything there is to know about you and I. He even knows more about you than you think he do. He says that I'm getting ready to shift. But it's going to be an unusual shift. Everybody won't be able to detect this shift. I know shifting is the word now. But many going to miss this shift. Because this shift is not for everybody. This shift is for a few people. This shift is for those who can hear the voice of God. And get up and obey. Hear it.
We would like to take this time out to invite you to come out every Monday night and join us for prophecy, healing, and deliverance. I mean an experience where you are renewed, revived, refreshed, and restored. You'll never leave the same way you came. That's at Sons and Daughters of Zion, 3714 West Bank Expressway in Harvey, Louisiana. Come out and receive what you need from the Lord.
What he says to you and I. In Romans 1:17, he declares that the just shall live by faith.
Oh, yes, hallelujah.
Romans 14:23, he said, whosoever is not of faith is sin. In Matthew 8:26, why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? We need to expect a miracle. Not one day, but every day. We should be expecting God to perform miracles in our life.
Oh, yes.
The children of Israel were facing a big problem. The river was over 1 mile wide. And there was 2 million people who had to cross. And yet the Lord wanted them to go over. They couldn't build a bridge. There wasn't time to buy material. They couldn't transport anyone over in a boat. There was no boat. They would have been, glory to God, like sitting ducks of the enemy. There was only one way around their problem, and that was through it. You're trying to go around it. God said, I didn't design it for you to go around it. He said, I need you to go straight through it. Have you ever sized up your problem and thought about how big it was? Maybe you looked at it and concluded, there is no way around. There is no way through it. There is no way over it or past this problem. I suppose we have all been like the 10 spies that returned from spying out the land of Canaan with Caleb and Joshua. We have sized up our problems and think that it is more than we could ever face. Our problem was the same. One we always have been facing. It's a difficult situation, but we must not forget about God. We see only the problem, but God sees the solution.
Yes, he does.
When we look at things in our own sight, it looks like there is no way. But God looks at the problem and he says, follow me. He says, I have a plan.
Yes,
He said, follow me. I am a door. He said, follow me. I have creativity. There was a plan. The plan was this. God said, when the feet of the priests enters the Jordan, I'm going to part the waters and lead you through on dry land. He said, all I need you to do is follow me. When I say move, move. When I say stop, stop. The reason you fell in the pit is because you stopped watching me when I stopped. The reason the enemy conquered you, because when I stopped, you kept on moving. Because as long as your eyes is on the glory, as long as you're as long as you're following me, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. There was a catch in this plan. It was that the water would not part until the priests who were carrying the Ark of the Covenant, when they would step in the water. It wasn't because their feet was anointed, but it was because they were carrying the presence of God. He says, when the priests, when they put their feet in the water, he said, that's when the presence of the Lord get upon this water. Does it remind you of when Peter and the other disciples was on the boat and Jesus began to walk the water? As long as the presence was there, they were able to walk. But he says, the priests who were carrying the ark stepped into the water. Oh, glory to God. In other words, it took a step of faith whereby the people obediently follow the Lord for them to see the miracle come to pass. Too often, we want the Lord just to fix everything. Just to work it out. Just to give us an answer. Just to open the door. We don't want to have to make any decisions. Nor do we want to have to exercise faith in him. We just want him to do it. And that will be the end of it. However, most of the time, God will require us to take a step of faith in order that we might see our Jordan parted. God had a plan. But for this plan to work, it required faith on the part of the people. Hello. What would have happened when the priests began to walk with the Ark of the Covenant if the children of Israel wouldn't have been in position when it moved to walk? What would have happened? He said, just because I passed by didn't mean something was going to happen. He said, I need your participation. Yes. As long as we are trying to solve our own problems, we are not walking in faith. It is when we turn loose of the reign of the problem, step away from it, and let the Lord have it, that we will see it taken care of for his glory.
Yes.
Where you are right now, Ramosa,
Yes.
it's for his glory.
Yes, it is.
He said, but when I get ready to realign your life,
Uh-huh.
when I get ready to make the necessary adjustments, make sure you're paying attention to me and not it.
My God. All right.
It never is about what we can do. It is always about what the Lord is able to do.
Yes, yes, yes.
The Bible says that when the priests stepped into this raging water, it parted, and God opened a path of dry ground through the water for his people. By the way, glory to God. Verse 16 says that the waters backed up to the city of Adam. It just didn't roll back a few inches. Glory to God. But this water rolled back about 20 miles. God said, I'm going to show you how powerful I am.
Hallelujah.
He said, roll back all the way to the city of Adam. Glory to God. Hallelujah. This is some 20 miles north of where the children of Israel were crossing. God made them a path through the waters that were more than adequate for his people to get through. God said this next breakthrough, glory to God, it's going to be more than you expected. Could you imagine the mindset of the children of Israel? They were just excited, okay, when we follow the presence of the Lord, he's going to bring us into our promised land. They probably was thinking all we need is a little sidewalk. All we need to do is get some little stones where we can just walk across. That's all we need. But God was showing them, when you operate in obedience, I'm a God that can give you more than enough.
Yes, yes, yes.
What you say? More than you can ask and more than you can think.
Yes.
So here, it parts.
Yes, Lord.
It rolls back. I could imagine you ever been at the lakefront and it was a windy or a storm going on and how the waves begin to move and you can see deep waves. Could you?
Thank you for tuning in to Meat from the Master's Table with God's mouthpiece, Patricia Frye. We hope you have enjoyed that profound, prolific, prophetic word from the Lord. You can join us every Sunday for 10:45 a.m. for our fresh oil service. That's at Sons and Daughters of Zion, 3714 West Bank Expressway in Harvey, Louisiana. You can reach us by phone at 504-298-1137.